I don't read the newspaper. Because it's garbage. And the editor that let it come out is garbage.
It's Division I football! Go play intramurals, brother. Go play intramurals.
But, you know, I am going to try, and there will be some people inconvenienced. And if it happens to be their fat little girlfriends, too bad.
Twitter, radio.
Yeah, I'd give a rat's ass about Twitter.
All right, welcome on back to the Jake and Bake Show. It doesn't matter what week it is. Big Ten football's back. Big Ten football's back this weekend. But before we get into it, we got a little bit of new setup. I had to change some things. But be sure to follow us on Twitter, myself on Instagram. I'm going to be on Twitter and Instagram at The Bake Is Here. Jake's on Twitter at Jake Cart. Doesn't really use Instagram. Don't worry about that. And follow us on the sports channel on Twitter at Jake and Bake Show. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on whichever platform you use to watch or listen, whether it be here on YouTube if you're watching, or Spotify if you're just listening to it in your car, on your commute, at the gym, wherever you might be listening to it. It really helps if you subscribe, like, comment, or follow on the Spotify platform. It really does help us. It does mean a lot. So thank you for that. Jake, before we get into it, I told you I was going to open this show a little differently. I got to tell you, and this is for everyone listening, the best feeling in the world, probably behind sex, is being debt-free. I recently became debt-free. I sold my dream vehicle, my Jeep, got into a little beater car. And I'll tell you what, being debt-free is the biggest relief off your shoulders. It's probably the greatest feeling. So if you're working towards something, if you got a little bit of debt, if you're going to school and you're working towards a goal, a dream, your dream job or something, just keep grinding. One day you'll get there. One day you'll get paid what you want to be paid. You'll be able to pay off your debts, and keep grinding. Get there one day. It's an amazing feeling. And when you do get there, don't stop grinding. The grind doesn't stop. Just keep going. But it is a big weight lifted off your shoulders to have that feeling of being debt free. So that was my little motivational piece to start the show, because it just happened in my life, and it's a huge thing in my life to be debt free. It's taken a lot of work. It's taken a few years. Not that I was an insane amount of debt, but here we are. But let's get into the show, Jake. Like I said, it doesn't matter what week it is for college football. It doesn't matter. The Big Ten's back this coming weekend. I mean, the boys are back. All right. The real dogs are here. We don't have to worry about teams not playing defense or some teams not playing offense. We got the best of both worlds in the Big Ten. Ohio State plays Nebraska this weekend. We got a big game between Michigan, that team up north, which is what I'm going to be calling them from now on. And if you know the show and you know why, that's why. So they're the team up north. They play Minnesota. That's game day this week. It's 18 versus 21. Michigan's 18, Minnesota's 21. That's going to be the game day pick of the week. We're going to choose that game at the end of the show, so stick around for that. But Jake, this past weekend, we had a huge game, because it was a big college football playoff, ramifications in the game, scenarios that could really alter the landscape of the playoffs at the end of the year. In Georgia, Bama, it was number 2 versus number 3. It was a huge game up until halftime.
Yeah.
Up until halftime and then Georgia just couldn't make the key changes that they need to make, and Bama did. They were able to come out. The best Big 12 quarterback, Mac Jones. You didn't take that comment too nicely when I said it. I think Mac Jones would be the best Big 12 quarterback right now. You even said it. He's basically a Big 12 quarterback. You said he can't scramble, which sitting in the pocket is, lo and behold, like what Big 12 known for. It's just air raid offenses usually. And so nonetheless, Bama looks phenomenal. Bama is amazing. I know last week I had mentioned that it would be interesting to see how Georgia's defense holds up against Bama's offense and vice versa. Obviously, Bama's offense was good enough to put Georgia's defense away, and Georgia's offense wasn't good enough to do anything to Bama's defense.
Normal.
And you needed, as an Oklahoma State fan, I think we talked about this a bit. You needed Bama to go undefeated. You need Bama to go undefeated. I'll shut up. Let's get your thoughts on the game, and go from there.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much hit the nail on the head. I mean, the thing about it was the crazy thing is everybody was picking Georgia, and I never understood it. I mean, it's just been tried and true for the past couple of years that Georgia's offense always they play all right, and then they play a good team, and their offense just crumbles. And when they were doing the matchup, number one defense versus number one offense, and it's like, you just look at them and it's like, yeah, it's kind of early in the season to tell how great Georgia's defense really is versus the tried and true. We know Bama's offense, with Waddle and Devontae Smith and Najee Harris, and like their offense is just just a unbelievable,
well-oiled machine.
Yeah, well-oiled machine. I was trying to get there, but That's a huge game, dude. And Bama blew them out in that second half. That second half, it wasn't even close. I mean, that you just saw Georgia get the wind knocked out of them, and they just crumbled underneath. And, I think that's a huge implication. Dude, honestly, the best game of the week was Florida State beating North Carolina. Like, that was crazy.
Not just
game.
North Carolina, number 5.
Yeah,
they were number 5 in that game, which we were talking about it during that game. That, like, why were they? I mean, all right, I get it. They're a decent team. I'm not saying they're not decent, but they shouldn't even have been in the top 10. They shouldn't even have been in the top 10. They're a decent team. They're just not top 10 team. But with the way this year has gone, they were able to sneak in there. Sorry for the slight, just like Oklahoma State. We'll get into that here in a second. Which, by
blasphemy?
the way, you guys moved. It's not blasphemy. It's just,
it is blasphemy. Because here's the thing: that game, how crazy it was, dude. It was 31-7 at halftime. Like, they weren't just losing; they were getting rocked. Florida State did everything within their power to choke that game. I mean, they literally tried to hand that game on. So they didn't score a single point in the second half. They won the game. They ended up winning the game by 31. They only scored 31 in the first half. So it's
they won the game by 3. They won the game 31-28. You misspoke. That's okay. They won the game 31-28. But yeah, they didn't score. They didn't score a single points.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, they scored 31 in the first half, and they never scored again.
Yeah.
So like, they ended up winning, but like, that was just insane. An insane game. I can't believe.
Well, and now I'm gonna have to pull this up because I actually don't know where North Carolina dropped to, but
I think 14. I believe. I think they're 14th.
Oh, let's see.
That's a shot in the dark, but I'm pretty sure it's something relative like that.
Yeah,
and then the
14th, they dropped to 14. Which, you know what? That is where they should be. They should be around that 20 to 12 mark throughout the year. If they don't play if they play like they did in the second half against Florida State, they are in between. They are right about at that 14 mark.
Yeah.
So I actually agree full-heartedly with that.
The other game,
that was.
Dude, no, we got to talk about the other game that was scary was BYU Houston.
I was just about to get in that.
Yeah.
Yep. BYU is a threatening team. You're shaking in your boots by them. You're scared. I know you are.
I'm scared that
how many hours of sleep or how many times in the night have you woken up and thinking about BYU?
Never, but
never before this season.
Yeah. It's a thing of, dude, when it comes clutch time, dude, like, you look at BYU's schedule, like, there's not games, like, they're going to be favored from here on out. And they might have one or two, like, tough games, but not really. Like, they should win out. And when BYU is going to be undefeated at the end of the year, like, that's going to cause a lot of problems for teams of who's going to get in, who's not.
Well, I think it will cause a problem if the top 3 teams are who we expect: Clemson, Bama, Ohio State, definitively. Yeah. And then when it comes down to, say, Oklahoma State has a mediocre season but still go undefeated. And what I mean by that is, say you guys only win by 1 possession each game, but you do win each game. That's going to play a factor because you don't have any. You wouldn't, ideally, if it plays out like that, you won't have any dominant performances. BYU does have a couple. Yeah, they're not playing the same caliber teams, but can you say that OU is the same team that? Can you say OU is better than the teams BYU's playing? I don't think so. I think that OU is just as good as the teams BYU's playing. And so when you come down to it, yeah, the strength of schedule will favor you guys. But if you don't have any performances, this is what I was telling you this over this weekend was I do think that you guys, Mike Gundy, Oklahoma State, they need to have no mercy this year. You need foot to the pedal, no, all gas, no brakes, all gas, no brakes. All right.
Yeah.
You guys need to be dominating. If you have the chance to outscore an opponent by 50 points, I mean, dude, Clemson beat Georgia Tech 73-7.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's insane. That's almost, they covered the spread with them. They covered the over under themselves.
Yeah.
By a significant amount. I think it was 68 over under and they scored 73. You guys need to do things like that. You guys need to find that Kansas team that, maybe it's Baylor. I don't know who it's going to be, but you guys need to find a team that you guys can absolutely destroy by three possessions or more. That way you can say we have dominated teams, because Georgia or Bama now has a dominant win over the number 3 team in the nation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you guys need dominant performance.
Well, and it's coming back to Bama needs to dominate in the SEC. They need to trash everybody so everybody gets beat up and you have a 2-loss SEC team that doesn't get in.
Well, and another thing that benefits you guys, this is obviously speculation and foresight. If you guys do want to go undefeated, win the Big 12, is you will have that conference championship. You will have that to be able to hold over BYU. I think. I don't know. Is the Big 12 doing conference championships this year?
Supposedly.
So yeah, I mean, you guys will have, ideally, if you guys win out, you will have the conference championship to hold over them, and that's a big factor. That's a huge factor to weigh over a non-conference champ in BYU. Yeah. That quarterback, what's his Zach Wilson, unreal. I mean, he's probably the favorite for the Heisman right now. I mean, without having Justin Fields play, Trevor Lawrence is doing great, but he hasn't done anything spectacular. He's set a standard for himself by already being spectacular the last 2 years that he hasn't met those same stats and whatnot. That I think people, unless he has an insane stretch for the rest of the year, I think Trevor Lawrence is just going to be a finalist. But I think right now Zach Wilson is the front runner for the Heisman trophy.
Yeah. I mean, it's
until Justin Fields play this weekend.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence is in that position of like LeBron. Like, he doesn't have to score 60 a night. Like, he can dish the ball out. He's got so many weapons and so many things. Like, when ETN's running the ball that well, their offensive line is just dominating people. Like, you get pulled out in the third quarter. Like, you can't just run up the stat sheet like normal. So it's like, So, I mean, Trevor Lawrence does it year in, year out. He gets close, but not quite there, just because the numbers don't look so great, because they just dominate so many people, because the ACC is a weak conference this year. The Pac-12 is going to help us, because the Pac-12, they're going to have 7 games in something. What is the Big Ten thing? They're playing 8?
8 games, and then the conference championship with the other teams playing on conference championship weekend as well.
So we'll see down the road. Yeah, we'll see about that, because you get one of those canceled, then it turns into a 7, and then it's like.
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge thing. That's the thing that we as fans and then teams obviously are going to have to deal with. That's
what I lose.
You play 8 straight weeks. You can't afford to have a postponement of a game, especially like I've been saying. And hopefully I'm not jinxing it too hard. The Penn State game next week. This weekend, Ohio State plays Nebraska. Next week, their second game of the season, they play Penn State in Happy Valley. Halloween night game. It's at 7:30 Eastern, so it's a night game. I mean, dude, that's a long time away. A lot could happen if that, knock on fucking wood, if that got fucking postponed. Huge implications. Implications. Yeah. And so you can't afford it. They got to be very, very,
That's what I lose sleep over.
What's that?
Not BYU. That's what I lose sleep over is game cancellation. It's already happened. It's already happened once to us with Baylor, and it's like we literally, it's out of our control. But we can only do our best.
So earlier in the week, you guys didn't play. You guys had a bye week, and you dropped in the rankings. This time, you guys didn't play, and you guys moved up in the rankings. Yeah. So you guys are number 6 You guys are right behind us. You guys are. I've been saying this. If you watch the show, you know Oklahoma State is little brother. You guys are little brother OSU. You guys are right behind us. You're right there.
I mean, hey,
you're coming to the playoffs with us. All right, you're coming to the playoffs with us. And if you're there, I hope to see you. I hope to see you there because I'd love to see your face when you could just get a real spanking.
Yeah, I want to see that upset. I want to see Ohio State be favored by 12 points or 14 points or whatever the spread's going to be.
You think they'd be favored by 12 or 14? Brother, they'd be 21. 21.
Oh, there's no way. Not that high.
17 and a half. 17 and a half.
I don't know.
It would be 17.
They're going to be big favorites, and then we'll see what happens.
But nonetheless, another thing we got to look out for is Notre Dame. They're sneaky terrible. I mean, they're sneaky terrible. I mean,
they've always have been.
Another team. Oh, speaking of terrible, another team that's absolutely abysmal. Just take a guess. One of the greatest quarterbacks ever played there.
Tennessee
is absolutely trash. They went three straight possessions of throwing picks. I actually think it might have been 3 straight plays, but they threw 2 back-to-back pick sixes, benched their quarterback. The other quarterback coming in on the next drive, he threw a pick. I mean, that's just insane. They're terrible. I don't have any.
Dude,
I actually did say
that
this.
Was the curse of Joe, though. I have to throw one of our roommates under the bus. He was talking about how good Tennessee was, and instantly that the wheels came off the wagon hard. I mean, the second he talked about how good Tennessee was, pick, second possession, pick, bench the quarterback, pick. Like, it was just that quick.
But I said this too. I kind of do feel bad for Tennessee fans because they are nice people. Most Tennessee fans are nice people. They're not super delusional other than the fact that they think they're good. But they're not like OU fans where they think they're going to win the Natty title. And then right after they have a bad season, be like, it's not a real season. They're super delusional out there in Norman. Down there in Norman, they're insanely delusional. But Tennessee fans, they're just nice people. They don't deserve this. They deserve better than that. Hopefully they get it one day, but it's just not anytime soon. They haven't been good since Peyton Manning?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there's a couple years that they were okay, but
no.
No, they had one chance.
Texas tries to say the same. Texas says they're back when they're 8-4. So no.
Yeah, Texas and Tennessee are a little different though.
Nah, they're basically the same. They're not back. But let's move on. I want to get back. I was touching on Notre Dame. They had an insane score against Louisville, which, by the way, as the number 3 now, but they were number 4 at the time, as the number 4 team in the nation playing in Louisville, where Louisville isn't the Lamar Jackson Louisville they once were.
1-3.
They're the 1-3 Louisville. Exactly. They're terrible.
They're not good.
Notre Dame only won 12-7. Well, first off, insane score. That's a baseball score. That's not a football score. 12-7 is not a football score. And if you think it is, you don't know football. And so that's but the thing is Notre Dame, we can't let them upset Clemson. Because if they get that upset, then all the business people are going to be like, oh, let's put Notre Dame in. They'll make us money being in the playoffs.
They'll get in. If they beat Clemson, they'll get in.
I know.
But dude, there's almost no way. There's no way they're beating Clemson.
They're not going to. But we're probably going to speak it into existence, and now they're going to win because we both said they're not going to.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
But, right now it's sitting Clemson, Bama, Notre Dame, Georgia, Ohio State, Oklahoma State, Texas A&M, Penn State at number 8, Cincinnati at number 9, and Florida at number 10. That's the top 10 right now in the AP poll as of week 8, it says. So now we know what week it is. But it's really just Big Ten week. It doesn't matter. So week 8, that's the top 10. I do think that once Ohio State starts playing, especially next week after they play against Penn State on the road against a top 10 team, they'll obviously probably bump up into. They'll
skyrocket.
They'll probably jump Georgia, possibly jump Notre Dame into the 3rd. But that remains to be seen. What really is going to be interesting is when Ohio State does start moving up. Does Oklahoma State squeeze into that top 4 spot? Do they squeeze past Georgia? Do they squeeze past Notre Dame? It'll be interesting. You guys yourself have a pretty big game because you have a top 25 game at home against a team that has been playing decent this season. Yeah, they did drop that first game, but they've been playing pretty decent. They went on the road. No. OU went up to Ames, right?
Yep.
So they played OU at home, but they're on the road now against you guys. It's a sneaky team because you guys mess around a little too much, and they could sneaky beat you. But I do think you guys are going to win.
Well, they're sitting top of the Big 12 right now. I mean, this is for the driver's seat, especially with Skylar Thompson going down at Kansas State and not going to come back for the rest of the season. The three teams at the top right now is OSU, Iowa State, Kansas State, and Kansas State losing that quarterback is huge because it's like, what's going to happen for them? And plus, Kansas State has got Murderers Row coming up. Kansas State plays Kansas this weekend in the Sunflower Showdown, which is supposed to be a rivalry, which is a joke because they're favored by like 20 points. They'll kill Kansas. And then the rest of their schedule is like just Baylor, West Virginia, Oklahoma State, Texas. It's just crazy. No, they already played OU, but still, same thing. They have Murderers Row in the back half of their schedule. Iowa State, though, their schedule, they've already played OU. They're playing OSU this weekend, so they got two big boys out, and then the rest of the way, they got Baylor, Texas, and West Virginia. And so
maybe.
Yeah. Well, see, and that's the thing is it's those games are I think they struggle more with West Virginia than they will TCU just because West Virginia's defense is so good.
Well, I mean, TCU plays OU this weekend. We'll see a little bit about them and see how they play against
their true colors. But Iowa State's schedule's set up. I mean, dude, the thing is Oklahoma State, we beat Iowa State this weekend, and then Iowa State wins out. They're in the Big 12 championship because they own head-to-head against OU. They'll own head-to-head against Texas. They'll basically run rampant. I mean, you're saying this is a potential Big 12 championship matchup right here this weekend? Yeah. As of today, these are the two favored to win, basically, because the way Iowa State schedule's set up and,
the way your bank account's set up.
Yeah.
Kevin Hart right there. I mean, it's definitely a big game. Obviously, anytime you get two teams in the top 25 playing each other, it's just a big game in itself. It's got big implications in terms of where other teams move up and down into the rankings. And it's a big weekend because you guys are playing Iowa State in a top 25 game, but also the Big 10 comes back. And so a lot of movement's going to be happening. I could see a couple upsets happening in the Big 10 in the Big 10. Exactly. Let's see. Wisconsin plays Illinois. I don't think they did get upset by Illinois last year. I don't foresee that happening again. Ohio State's going to win. Let's see what the other one is. Penn State's going to play Indiana, and that's about it for the top games. So, I don't know. It's going to be an interesting weekend. I'm just excited for Big Ten football, man. I'm finally the boys are back. The teams they're back playing. Ohio State's going to be out there, scarlet and gray, and they're just going to be showing out. I mean, we're going to finally be seeing what is Justin Fields doing in terms of the growth he's had from last year. Who's going to take over that running back spot and replace J.K. Dobbins as that premier rusher? And then also we lost Chase Young. So it's going to who steps up and fills these holes. We got a lot of big guys coming back. And so it's going to be interesting. I think this is my prediction. We come out slow in the first half. In the second half, we just blow them out of the water. That's usually how the first couple games go in the regular season anyway with Ohio State. But I think that's just going to happen. I think we're going to come out slow in the first. I think it's going to be 21-7 in the first half. And then after that, it's just going to skyrocket.
Yeah, my prediction is the complete opposite. You're going to come out and you're just going to blow Nebraska out of the water. Then you're going to bring in your backups, and then Nebraska is going to score a late touchdown to make the score look a little better. Don't sleep on our
backups. Our backups are your starters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about that. We'll see what happens.
Right, you're the one that's been preaching about the fucking receiving core coming in next year. That receiving core is no joke. They got 1, 3, and 5.
Yeah, they do.
5.
They do. But
and this year we're still dope.
Yeah. I wouldn't put all my eggs in the basket against Nebraska though, because Nebraska is terrible. They're pretty bad. So we'll see what happens with that. But it's just the thing that I'm excited for is it's one more step to normalcy. It's one more step back to things, how things should be and the way the things, were. And that's what I'm really excited about is just getting everybody back in the groove of, like a couple months ago, this day we didn't think was ever going to come. And so I'm just glad to be here for it.
100%. Let's move on we're going to get right into the NFL. I want to recap just a couple games from this past weekend. Dallas Cowboys, they got their shit pushed in by the Cardinals. And the thing is Kyler Murray didn't even play that good. Kyler Murray was like 9 for 21 or something. 9 for 24, 188 yards, 7.8 averaging, 2 touchdowns. He got sacked once. His QBR was 82. I mean, he didn't have a great game, but he had just good enough because guess what? They have one of the best receivers in the country. One of the best receivers in the modern era, maybe arguably a top 10 receiver all time in DeAndre Hopkins. And this is just something we talked about, and it's not something new that's been talked about, but the fact that the Texans allowed GM Bill O'Brien and head coach Bill O'Brien to trade him away, insane. I mean, that's the best trade the Arizona Cardinals could have made. I mean, that's insane that they were able to pick him up. That's huge for Kyler Murray. The growth for Kyler Murray is going to be great. Obviously, they still got Larry Fitzgerald. They got Christian Kirk, who had a huge game. But having DeAndre Hopkins for probably the rest of his prime and maybe the rest of his career,
for basically
free.
Second rounder or something like that.
They got a second. Texans got a second rounder. They got David Johnson, and they swapped out 4th rounders. Yeah,
that'll live in infamy forever.
Probably one of the worst trades ever. Maybe one of the worst trades ever in all of sports. The Kansas City Chiefs beat the Bills. I took the Chiefs, but I want the Bills to do the good. Is my point. I'm rooting for the Bills, but the Kansas City Chiefs are who we think they are, and they actually just made a huge signing this week. And they picked up none other than Le'Veon Bell, who the Jets released because they're idiots. The Jets are just the most abysmal team in the nation. They lost to the Dolphins 24-0. But other than that, I mean,
got to see Tua play a little bit.
Yep. Tua played just a little bit at the end of that game, and then he also was named starter for this upcoming week. They play, let's see. I actually don't have it right here. Let's see. They're on a bye this week. So they named Tua the starter, and he'll play next week. But the Giants finally got a win, and that NFC East division is abysmal. They're 5-18-1 on the season, Jake. That division is 5-18-1, and it's we're going into week 7.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
That's terrible. But hey, I wanted the Giants to get at least one win. I hope they actually don't get any more. Because
you have to look at the bright side though. You being in that conference at least gives you a chance. We're in Kansas City's conference.
Yeah.
We have no chance.
The Broncos don't have a chance.
Even if we were good, it don't matter. We did. We beat the Patriots
with 6 field goals or something.
Yeah, we take the dubs, but at the end of the day, there's just no chance.
6 field goals.
Yeah, we can't win the division.
You guys beat the Patriots on field goals alone.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Defense. It's our bread and butter, dude.
Yeah, you're right. It is. But let's get into this upcoming weekend. And honestly, I don't see any huge games. The Bills against Jets, maybe just because the Bills are coming off a loss against KC. They're looking to get back in the win column. And the Jets are just terrible. That's the perfect team to get a win against. The Giants play Eagles. Bengals and Browns, that's another toilet bowl of the year. There's been a lot of toilet bowls this year in the NFL. It'll be interesting to see. I hope Joe Burrow can get a little win out of that. We'll have to see, though. The Packers lost the Buccaneers this past weekend, but they play the Texans this upcoming weekend. Your Broncos play that team you were just talking about, the Chiefs. And I'm sorry for you guys, because if Le'Veon Bell plays this weekend, he's going to probably want a big first game. They're probably going to want to give it to him. But let's get right into the picks for this weekend. You know what? We're going to get wrapping up on the show. Let's get into the picks. Jake, I've been going first usually. So I'm going to let you go first. Hit me with your college games, not the game day game. Hit me with your college games, hit me with your NFL games, and then I'll give mine. And then at the end, we'll do our college game day game.
Okay. So I got a wild card. I like picking those Thursday, Friday night games just for fun, just to see what happens. I'm taking Arkansas State plus 12.5 versus App State.
All right. I took Arkansas State last week against Georgia State, and they covered for me.
Yeah. Arkansas State, dude, that number 9 wide receiver, forget his name. That dude's going to play in the league. That dude's unreal. Like, they're legit. App State's legit too, but plus 12.5 is a pretty big margin. So we'll take the points. Don't feel great about this pick, but I'm taking Baylor plus 8.5 versus Texas. Texas looked terrible against OU. It was unreal. That defense is garbage, and we'll see what happens when they play Baylor. I don't think Baylor is that good of a team, but if your defense is that bad and you let teams score and stay in the game, I think Texas wins by 3, and it's like a 3-point game, and that covers the spread. 8.5 is a pretty good margin to get there. So that's what I'm taking.
That's a good pick, and it's actually making me want to take it. I think I'm adding a pick to my list right now.
Oh, okay. Okay. Now we're getting freebies from Jake, huh? Okay.
No, I'm not even taking that pick.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Well, you're enticing me to take another
inspiring.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Inspiration. Yeah. So then I got the Browns -3 versus the Bengals. I think the Bengals
that game too.
I don't think that the Bengals are doing bad, and the Browns have been doing really good. They got all the pieces. I don't think Baker's playing that well, but the Browns as a team is playing well, and the Bengals as a team is playing bad. So we'll do the -3, and then this might surprise you, but I'm taking the Bills -13 versus the Jets. The Jets are abysmal. They're horrible. The Bills coming off a loss. The Bills are actually a pretty good team. I think they just rout them. The Jets have been playing so bad that it's like, absolutely. I think they're going to get killed. And I think that's the rest of your. Is that the rest of your? Yeah, that's it. I got game day, but
we got game day. But that's a perfect segue, because you know what? I'll lead off with that. I'm actually taking the Bills too, -13 for the same exact reason. They're coming off a loss against KC. They're eager for a win again. They're looking to get back in the win column. It's a perfect team to do it against. And the Jets, the Jets, Jets, they suck. And so they're out without Le'Veon Bell. It's just a perfect game for the Bills to just come back out firing on all cylinders. They're recapping. They're playing. It's basically practice squad. I'm taking the Bills as well. Sticking in NFL, I'm going to go with, and it's not even a risky pick in a sense, other than the fact that it's just a low spread. I'm going to take Pittsburgh +1 at Tennessee. 2 undefeated teams. One of them is going to have to lose unless they tie, which of course is probably going to happen. And so I think
you're picking against Tannehill.
Listen, it's a +1. All they got to do.
I don't want to hear this. I don't want to hear this.
Tannehill could still have a great game without jeopardizing his efficiency, but still lose. It's possible.
Yeah.
Quarterbacks don't win or lose a game. It's defense. Like you said earlier, it's defense. And so he can't control the defense. I'm going to take Pittsburgh +1. I think one of these teams is going to fall eventually. I think now is the time for Tennessee to take that L. I don't think they're going to have too many this year. I think they're a decent team, but they're going to take an L at some point. I think it's going to be against the Steelers. It's just too low of a spread. I actually just think the Steelers are going to win that game. And so moving on from NFL, I was going to take the Bengals Browns game as well, but I kind of just want to enjoy the trashiness of that game. And so I'll just enjoy that. Moving on to college. Let's get into college. I got to take a Big Ten team. I got to take a Big Ten game. I'm not taking Ohio State game just because I don't pick Ohio State games when they're not game day. They're my team. Just same reason as you don't pick Oklahoma State. I don't pick Ohio State. I'm going to take Penn State -6.5 against Indiana. I think Penn State is actually a decent team. Actually, probably better than decent. And Indiana's not. And so I think Penn State coming out firing. They know they got Ohio State next weekend, and they want to get that first game really squared away. They want to come out firing on all cylinders before they get their cheeks clapped next weekend. So Penn State -6.5 at Indiana. Next up, you might not be too happy with me taking this game, but I'm going to take number 6, Oklahoma State -3.5 against Iowa State. I do think you guys cover that spread. I do think you guys win that game. You guys kind of have to. You guys got to win out, and so I think you guys will. It's the first big test of the year, and it's going to show a lot in terms of especially how you guys use your starting quarterbacks. If you guys split the reps between Sanders and Illingworth, if you guys just go with Sanders, just go with Illingworth. We'll have to see. That'll be a big factor, but it'll make things interesting. You guys are in the driver's seat for your own season. You win out, you're in basically. So I'm going to take Oklahoma State -3.5. And the game I didn't take at the start of the show, but you inspired me to take it. I'm going to take TCU 6.5 against OU. I'm doing it. I think OU is they're just a fraud. I mean, they are who me and you, Jake, thought they were. Trash. Yeah. And so I think TCU actually even might pull out the upset, but I do think they can actually just cover that game. I think it was 3 straight games, maybe 4 straight games that Oklahoma had like 20 plus unanswered points in the second half. So I think that's a huge thing. TCU's defense is pretty damn good. Their offense isn't anything to be shaking in your boots about it, but with OU's defense not being that great and faltering in the second half so much, with their offense also faltering in the second half, Spencer Rattler isn't anything spectacular in the second half. He hasn't shown any signs of clutch performances. I don't think, at least. TCU +6.5. And on to the last pick of the day, game day 18. That team up north, and they're playing at Minnesota, number 21 Minnesota. I'll give you my pick. I think you're taking the same one. I'm taking PJ Fleck in Minnesota Gophers up there +3. I'm taking Minnesota +3.
That's a good pick. I'm actually gonna I'm taking PJ Fleck, row the boat. I mean, it's an easy pick. Michigan, they're frauds too. I mean, pretty much. I mean, Minnesota, like, they had a hell of a season last year. Like, their quarterback coming back is like scary. Like, can Michigan's offense do well? Like, their defense is supposed to be good, but their offense is all over the place. So it's like, dude, PJ Fleck, Minnesota, like, he's sitting pretty right now. He got that contract. He's getting comfortable. Minnesota is on the rise.
He's getting his recruits in.
Yeah, he's starting to work the system and starting to really blossom into being a great coach. So,
all right,
yeah, Minnesota +3, easy.
We're both riding the Bills. We're both riding Minnesota. I'm going to run through my picks real quick, and then you do the same. I got Minnesota +3 against Michigan. I got number 8 Penn State -6.5 against Indiana. I got number 6 Oklahoma State -3.5 against Iowa State. I got TCU +6.5 against OU. I got Pittsburgh Steelers +1 against Tennessee Titans. I got Buffalo Bills -13 against the Jets. And like I said, 21 Minnesota +3.
I got Minnesota +3. They'll easily cover that spread. I got Arkansas State in the wild Thursday night game +12.5 versus App State. And then I got the 3 Bs. I got Baylor, Browns, Bills. I got Baylor +8.5 versus Texas, Browns -3 versus Bengals, and Bills -13 versus Jets.
You might have the Better Business Bureau coming after you, giving out those picks like that. But yeah, that's the show. Those are our picks. Once again, be sure to follow us on Twitter at The Bake Is Here for myself, at Jake Cart for Jake, and at Jake and Bake Show for the show. Be sure to subscribe here on YouTube if you're watching. Be sure to subscribe on Spotify if you're listening. Thanks for the support. It means a lot. And once again, go Buckeyes. Get the O for Ohio State. The Ohio State Buckeyes. We're going to come out this weekend firing, and we'll be on top here pretty soon. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Jake, see ya.
Go Pokes.